Welcome to Drum and Drummer, a podcast focused on drums, drumming and drummers. I'm George Pickering and that's Ben Winty, and we are both professional drummers in this business we call music. So stick around and join us as we pass the time whilst trying to stay in time.
And at that point, he loses his balance and drops her, and she smashes down, and it's like fully concrete floor, and just bang.
First leg, Ben Winty to throw first. Ben, the producer Winty, steps up to the oche, his debut at the PDC World Championships. Bosh, treble 20. Bosh, treble 20. Wayne Mardle's on the commentary. Fill her up, fill her up. Bosh. He's at the treble 20.
They're both on a 9. They're both on 9s. I can't spake. I can't spake.
Yes, it is, of course, episode 180.
Great stuff.
Great stuff. Great
Been
stuff.
waiting for this. I saw it last week. I saw 179. I went, oh, you know what that means. You know what that means.
Yeah.
180. So, darts.
Big
This is all I
fan.
had. This is all I had for the pod, us to discuss our darts chat.
Darts and something for the old people.
Well, because, we've talked about how we played darts before, but as if we've delved into it too much, we could talk about, you renovated your studio. Studio used to be, the actual studio part of the studio used to be upstairs.
Yeah.
And then you changed it into a games room, which was a great UPC. No, wait, USP.
Yeah.
UPC is something else. Don't know what it is. Anyway, let's not get distracted already. But you put a darts board in there. And at first you had an Xbox, and we were like, let's play FIFA. And I was like, I'm rubbish. Don't want to play board. Next. And then you put a darts board in, and it was like, ooh,
Yeah.
Play this. Could play this a lot. And then me, you, and Neil got very good at darts. Or at least played a lot of darts. We got better. You got very good. I'd say I was surprised by how good I could be at darts, But if you're playing 2 hours a day, every day,
if you're pushing work down to the bottom of the to-do list,
yeah,
and taking 2-hour lunch breaks,
yeah,
and just, you're coming in early.
yeah,
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'll take longer for lunch, and we just
yeah.
get on the darts.
Because the game takes a while.
It does, but it's quite in a way, it's quite a leveler, really. Throw a dart at a board. The mechanics of it are quite simple. Yet it's very, very hard to be very, very good. But it's certainly it's what's quite good, I think, in terms of the leveler is you're broccoli. You're not
broccoli. Yeah.
What you do doesn't directly affect what the other person does. In terms of like returning a ball in tennis, squash, the shuttlecock in badminton.
Yeah.
Like I wipe the floor with you if it's badminton. If you're talking badminton, do you know what I mean? I wipe the floor with you.
Yeah.
Second best badminton
personally?
player. Yeah, anyone.
Second best player?
Henry Cort, second best badminton player in school.
Well, sure, there's only 2 people playing. Of course, well, that means you lost, didn't it?
No, but the whole school, I was the second best. I was the second best, all right?
What was your school called? Henry Cort?
Henry Cort Community School, yeah.
So, if there's a badminton court, it'd be Henry Court Badminton Court, surely.
Yeah.
I bet
Henry
they
Court's
said that all the
Court.
time. Yeah, Henry Court's Court, yeah. Like Watergate Gate.
Yeah. Side note,
yeah.
I mentioned things I've been involved with collapsing to the ground. 1, Sainsbury's Cafe, they're going.
Yep.
Used to work there. 2, TGI Fridays. In administration, not quite sure what's happening there.
How were you involved with TGI Fridays again?
Used to work there, boy. Bus boy.
Oh, okay.
Best bus boy, second best bus boy in town.
I say, who is this person that keeps beating you? It's like one of those American films where there's a rival who's just always slightly better. It's like, there he is again.
But do you know what's weird as well?
Neil
used to work at that same TGI's.
That is weird.
Yeah.
But it's also a small world and you're from the same town, so maybe not that
exactly,
weird. Right, carry on.
Sony PlayStation, the London studio I used to work at, gone.
Yeah.
Do you know what's next? I mean, obviously blacksmiths.
Yeah, I was going to say the studio. Something to do with darts?
No, my school, Henry Court.
Oh, wow. Oh, shit. Oh, yeah.
They're getting rid of it. Knocking it down, boy.
Jesus.
It's a really weird thing. They're Whiteley is expanding. Whiteley's a sort of newish town.
Yeah.
Sort of to the west of Fareham.
Can a town expand?
It can, because they're just...
Are they taking over?
Yeah, basically, yeah. A lot of pillaging. Of pillaging.
Yeah.
If you ever, lovely Cineworld, but you might get pillaged. So
I thought you were going to do the Ricky Gervais bit, raping and pillaging. What are you up to? Pillaging. Anyway, carry on. I don't even know what pillaging is. What is pillaging?
It's just like, I think, going and stealing stuff,
burning
it down, robbing.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it's all sort of woodland, and they just built this town in sort of like the late 90s, early 90s. And expand. There was this roundabout, right? There's this roundabout. You drive to the back of Whiteley, you turn left to get to the restaurants and the Tesco round the back, right? And there's this roundabout, and you could only turn left at it. But if you wanted to go straight ahead, it was like a Sims. There was sort of, or Sim City. There was like a exit, but it went nowhere.
Amazing.
It was just boarded up. And you're like, one day they're going to unlock that. It's like the secret island in Grand Theft Auto 3.
Yeah.
There's a bridge with barriers. Oh, you can't get over there. Oh, wait. Play the story. Yes, you can. And they finally like unlocked this and built this all big new development. But they're like, oh, there's loads of people living here, but there's absolutely no infrastructure to support all the people living here. Classic. We need a new school. What about that one? So should we build a new school? Nah. The one that's feeding all of the west side of Fareham, let's knock that down and make everyone go to Whiteley.
Right.
Oh, you mean Whiteley, where it's got really good transport connections? Oh, no, it hasn't. It's got one fucking road that goes in.
Yeah.
No train. So, anyway, that's going.
There could be a money maker there. Shall we start a school?
We could. We could
take over that school.
Yeah.
It's a wild business idea.
See, the irony, though, what are they going to put in place there? More houses. Fucking...
Yeah. Wow.
But just another thing that I've touched that has been taken from this earth.
So we used to play darts.
We did.
And I think it's worth mentioning the first time you got a 180. That's a good story.
Yeah, I feel like we have mentioned some of these before, but we'll reminisce
them all, get it all done, and then never mention it again.
Until I'm on the PDC main stage.
Exactly. Yeah. I want to hear the 180 from your side of the story, and then I'll tell it from my side of the story.
Well, for those who don't know darts, 180 is that's the highest score you can get with 3 darts.
Yeah.
3 treble 20s. Each segment has a single, a double, and a treble. And you wanna get down from 501 to 0. You have to finish on a double. So what you want to do is you want to score big, and then hit your double. Do that well enough, you'll be a millionaire. You'll be a professional darts player. Yeah. But it's really hard to consistently throw a very small dart into a very small hole. It's really hard, right? And so much of darts is mental. Yeah. And you got to be consistent. It ain't about energy and moving around. It's just, you got to do the same.
No, it absolutely isn't about energy. Gotta be, you've seen those darts players. You don't look at them and go, he's getting up to go for a run, you know?
Yeah.
There was a darts player who lost 4 stone and was worried it would affect his game. And he said, I'm not going to be as good now. I'm not as fat. And that mental. Anyway, carry on.
He's lost his ballast, you know. It's all about body weight and...
Yeah.
Look at Luke Littler. Fighting fit. He'd be a king in olden times. Portly little fella.
Yeah.
Sign of wealth.
Yeah, it is, yeah. Or kebabs and vapes. Yeah.
So that's what you're trying to go for. That's the glory, the 180.
Yeah.
And there is no better feeling than hitting one.
Oh God, no, it's amazing.
And everyone gets their first 180 at some point. Your cherry pops.
Not everyone.
Hit that. No. You've hit that plum 3 times. We used to call it the plum. That is plum.
Oh yeah. Should we do the names now?
Yeah, we can do. Well, I just finished and I hit my first 180 and the old studio was upstairs above one of the rehearsal rooms. Not really any soundproofing between the 2 floors, and you were teaching a lesson, I think, when you used to teach here, and I hit 180, and me and Neil, the celebrations were what I can only describe as wild.
Yeah, that's how I'd describe it.
Yeah. So we were jumping, cheering, slamping my big clodhoppers down on the floor. I'm a big guy.
Yeah.
I'm not a ballet dancer.
You're not.
And you just heard,
It was mental.
What was your perspective?
So from my side of the story, there was a young lad I'd been teaching drums, about 8 or 9. His mum approached me.
Legs.
Said,
was it legs?
No, it wasn't legs. This was the boy.
Which ironically ties into darts because
yeah, it does.
Each game of 5-1 is called a leg.
So this
he was so
woman,
fat, his legs bent. That's why he was called legs.
There you go. You said it.
You know when they go inwards at the knee, but the wrong way.
It's a shame. Sort of buckled.
And they'll never unbuckle. They'll never unbuckle. That's just pressure.
It is sad. It is sad to have a kid that's, that fat. Cause
buckled his own legs.
Yeah. Well, it's it's not him though, is it? It's the mum going, have some Coke with your breakfast, So anyway, it wasn't him. It was another boy whose mum called me up. This is how the relationship
was it
started.
Arms?
No, she said, hi, I've got my son. I think he's got ADHD, so I think drumming will be really good for him. Can he have lessons? And I said yes. So anyway, he came by. First lesson was great. His mum sat in the lesson. And then I've always said with younger students, there can be a kind of point at which they might start to lose interest, because the first lesson is always fun because they get to play drums, and then the next month or so it's still like wow, and then when you kind of keep it kind of can not level out completely, but as with learning anything, the initial thing is like, oh my god, and then it peters off, and when it starts to peter off, that's where young people especially can either go one way. They either go, okay, I'll stick with this, or they go, actually excitement's gone, this isn't exciting. So he was getting to that point, and that day not only did his mum sit in the lesson, which is awkward when a parent sits in a lesson. For any teachers listening, it's like I think they think it's better, but as soon as they leave, the child actually it's almost like they can't relax while their parents I don't know. But anyway, not only did the mum
parent are just checking you're not a nonce. You know what I mean? The parents are just checking you're not a nonce. They want to see what they're spending their wasting their money on. But you're right. The parent goes, the kid can be free.
Yeah, exactly. So not only was the mum there, but also his granddad was there. So granddad turns up. Oh, it's all right. Grandpa Joe comes in. Yep. Who else? Yep. Right, I'll get
Grandpa
another
Joe
chair.
from Willy Wonka. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And so they both sat there. So it's obviously tense. And I'm going, right, let's play this. And at this point, he's starting to peter off. So it's quiet in the room. I'm like, right, should we try this? And he's like, ooh, just not as interested. Huh?
Yeah. Seven Nation Army. So do that one again.
Yeah. We will rock you.
Back in black.
And then the parents, mum and granddad were sat there. It was quiet. It was a tough lesson as it was. And then out of nowhere, I just hear the wild screams of you and Neil. The only thing that annoyed me about it was Neil was always very like, don't be loud. I've got clients in. Reverse those roles.
I'm
teaching. You know what I mean? He's like, that's not a real thing.
I'm actually recording. You're below him.
Yeah. To him, I'm below him. Yeah, exactly. So anyway, love you, Neil. So anyway, and we all looked at each other, and I just went, I don't know what that was. I think I said that. And then I said, I know they're moving some stuff about upstairs. Maybe someone dropped something. I think that's what I thought. Rather than saying they're playing darts.
Yeah, I'm moving talent to the oche.
Yeah. So there was that time. And then I should mention, I managed to get a 180 once. And it was the last time we played, I believe. Because, we sort of stopped playing. And then randomly we just had one last game. I can't remember why. I don't know if it was Valentine's Day. There was one year where you and I were both single. And Valentine's Day, we were like, should we play some darts?
Yeah, let's go next year. Play some darts, get a pizza.
Yeah.
Have a boys' night.
And fuck each other. No, we didn't do that. No, we just had some pizza. I don't know if that was
not
the
on
time
the
I was
oche, out of respect for the sport.
Yeah, out of respect for Luke Littler. I can't remember if that was the time I got really ill out of nowhere.
It was, I think it was, yeah.
Yeah. I was suddenly like, Ben, I don't feel well. You're like, Jesus.
Ruined my night.
Classic
excuse, anything to avoid a good shagging.
Oh, I got a headache, Ben. Yeah. So anyway, so there was that. I got my 180 at some point, which, after I'd done that, I was like, I'm good. I'm good if I never play darts again, So a few things to wrap up the darts thing for this 180 episode. We had nicknames for certain scores? I think these are fun.
Yeah, so I got into watching darts as well. And I had a board at home, board at the studio, worked a complete dive. And I was just, this is pre-COVID, just into the darts, let's play darts. Neil wasn't working at home, you were in teaching a lot. So we were in the building, you were babysitting as well. The three of us were in the building a lot. So we would throw those arrows. Now in darts you have there are nicknames. There are nicknames for things. For example, the big fish.
Yeah.
So we got 170 left, 2 treble 20s, bull. That finish is called a big fish, right? There's a little fish as well, which I think is a single 20, treble 20, and a bullseye. So 130 finish. You got Shanghai, which is a single, treble, and a double of one number. But we would kind of come up with our own. We were playing so, and what would happen is you'd obviously be aiming for the treble 20, right? There it is, sweet plum little thing right in the centre, upper half of the dartboard.
State of
but next to the 20, you got the 5, and on the other side you got the 1. So if you miss, you're not going to get, there's a danger zone really for the wayward dart.
There's a highway to it,
yeah, and when you're first playing or whatever, it's quite often you'll hit a 20, and then you'll hit a 5 or a 1, and then you'll want to move back to the 20, but you overcompensate, and so you hit the other side, so you'll get a 20, a 5, and a 1. So 26 is a real sort of classic score.
Yeah.
And we would call we'd call it a classic.
Yeah.
I think this is right. Because we've ended up calling it the Divok Origi, didn't we?
Divok.
We called it a Divok because it was a classic. It was a Reebok classic.
Yeah.
It was a Reebok Origi, Divok Origi, Divok. So you get a 26, you call it a Divok. Then we had, I definitely remember as well, we had, if you just got 3 single 20s, that was sweet.
Yeah.
That was sweet, wasn't it?
Yeah.
It was so sweet to the touch of your love, baby. I want to be inside you. I want to see the night through.
Yeah. So we made up a song.
So sweet to the touch of your love, baby.
And then we started dancing, And then I remember us imagining, imagine if we were on telly right now, and this was the final, and we were trying to
I'm doing that on the big stage. I'm doing that on the big stage in 5 years. Yeah. I'm going to do that.
When you get 320.
What's he doing?
Yeah, he
only scored 60 points. He's been demolished here.
And now he's
by Vincent Van Veen.
So but the song got added to each time,
First every time a 60 was
so
hit.
Sweet. And then sweet to the touch of your love, baby.
But then what we'd call the treble 20 the plum, right? So the plum, when you get that in the nice plum, it's red there, right? And so what would happen is you might throw first 2 darts, that would be a bit shit.
Yeah.
But then you get a plum with your third dart, you get the treble 20. So it's saved with a plum.
Yeah.
So you'd hit that and you swab.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? Swab. Yeah. But then also you got treble 19s down the bottom there, all lovely and green.
Yeah.
Yeah. That became known as the grape.
Yeah.
Do you remember that?
Yeah,
so you could also swag. You could also swag saved with a grape. Because sometimes if you're 20 and you're blocking the treble, you might switch down to the 19s to get a high score. So you might swag it. And then then you had, I think you had the treble 18, which is sort of top right, 54. And I can't remember. I think we might have called that the cherry.
Yeah, it was another fruit. I remember that.
Called that the cherry because that's red as well. So you could swag as well. But if you got one of each, we call that the fruit salad.
Yeah, exactly.
Do you remember that? You just get one of them. That was the fruit salad.
I remember I got onto a flow, I'll just say, of getting the treble 18 really well. I just sort of knew how to do it. And it was kind of annoying because I was like, well, if I could just move that to the 20. But for whatever reason, 18 was like, that was where I just felt, I'd start on trying to get treble 20 and I'd be like, it's not working. Go to the 18 and it'll just go in. Like, why is that? It's like golf. I played golf with Lennon the other day. Sometimes I'd absolutely fucking nail it and be like, that was good. I don't know why though, And then I'd hit it badly and be like, that was bad, and I don't know why,
I did that, right? So I played golf in Portsmouth on the Stag Do, the one on Eastern Road.
Yeah.
And we're sort of teeing off, and there's a lot of people around, and I've not really played golf apart from
it's the worst, yeah.
And I hit that ball so sweet.
Yeah.
that first one, and everyone was like, oi, oi.
Yeah, yeah.
And then I was rubbish for the whole
Yeah.
rest of the thing. But that one in front of people, I think I just ended up walking around smoking, just smashing it like one-handed. I didn't really
Fucking John
care.
Daly over here. Yeah, no, I remember every shot I did, like every tee off would be awful. And I think it's the lead up, you know, you got Lennon and Dom watching, and you put it on a little tee, and you kind of, you know, might do a practice swing for no reason. It doesn't make any difference to me.
Yeah,
It's
because
gonna be
that's,
shit
yeah.
anyway. And then just hit it. Oh, it's rolled 10 feet, you know. But then my next shot would go like 100 yards, and I'd be like, but why, you know?
Yeah.
Can't I just have a good one from the start? That would make much more sense, you know?
Darts can be very frustrating. You know, I'm pretty good, and you could be close, but you're like, what? I treble won 3 times there. I got treble won 3 times. Just shift it over.
Yeah.
I'll be a pro. But
yeah,
sometimes it happens. Sometimes you throw, and you're like, I'm conscious. I'm doing exactly the same thing.
Yeah.
But that dart was fucking abysmal.
I'll tell you, my favourite thing that you said about darts, and it was spot on, is there can be no sort of debate as to, like, because we used to play FIFA, and, you know, you'd beat me every time, and I'd be like, it's probably the controller. Probably got sticky controller in it. You know what I mean? It wasn't. It's because I wasn't as good at FIFA. Whereas darts, there's no, you know, in football, the linesman was wrong, you know, or referee, or...
There's no ambiguity. It's
no
in
ambiguity.
the section or it's not.
Yeah.
That's why I love darts. It's maths. Yeah, you got to be sharp on the old numbers. There's no ambiguity, and whilst you are competing against someone, your shot does not directly. So you're playing your own game.
Yeah.
Even if you're playing someone else, whereas like a racket sport or something like that, you can, if someone's a bit better than someone else, it can take the fun out of it if you're just playing socially.
Yeah.
Because there's a difference in ability there, and that difference directly affects what the other person does. Whereas in darts, yes, you are competing, but you're playing your own game of getting down from 501 to 0. And if I have a shocker, you know, or so my throwing your dart doesn't stop you throwing a good dart.
No, exactly.
So it's quite a nice sort of personal sport again, and you don't move. It's brilliant. I love it.
Yeah, yeah.
And you do some sums in your head.
Yeah.
But George, you'll know this. You know, there is what a sweet feeling hitting a plum, hitting the ball.
Yeah. Well, the last
really
thing to say is you nicknamed me Chateau Can when I used to just absolutely lever it into the board. You know? There was no.
For some reason, you had quite heavy darts, and your throw would just the loudest thud in the board, like the strongbow arrows, isn't it? But
yeah, it's good. Anyway, that's darts. I'm going to talk about my gig I had on the day we recorded last week's episode, because I haven't even told you about this, but I've told other people and they've gone, that's fucking mental. So I played at Silchester Farm, which is famously the worst place to play on the
Yes, recap. We spoke about this. This is where the gig, where it was raining, no amps, electric kit, and I burst a tyre on the way home. Is it that venue?
Yeah, it is that venue.
Yes, and you were doing a gig with Sundown. Mm-hmm. It was your Wildwood Sky tribute band.
Yeah.
Same people, same lineup, off agency, doing your own thing, putting your finger up to the man. You got to walk to John O'Groats for some people with trouble.
Yeah. So... electric kit, whatever, who cares?
Was it a wedding?
It was a wedding. And playing, some people are dancing. So instantly I spot this guy, big guy, looks like the type that plays rugby, and he's with this girlfriend. I assume he's with his girlfriend and partner, whatever, I don't know. And he keeps doing this thing, right, where he'd pick her up and then just spin her around. Like he'd stay in one place and do a 360 and spin her around as if to be like, hey, look how fun I am. I fucking hated this guy instantly because I could see right through it. I was like, you're not showing how fun you are, and you're not doing this for your girlfriend. You're doing it for yourself. Do you know what I mean? You're going, look at how strong I am as a rugby player. I can pick up my girlfriend And I was telling my mum about this, and she was like, he's probably also being like, this is my possession, you know? This is mine. I'm going to hold her and spin her around so everyone can see, you know, don't talk to her, you know? So anyway, he kept doing it. And then he'd do it as well to this young girl, as in like, you know, a 5-year-old child. Sort of pick her up by her arms and spin her around. So then I knew what would happen, and what happened did happen. All these mums and stuff were going, oh, look at him, he's so good with kids. It's like, no, he's doing it for himself. He wants to be like, look at how good I am. So he clearly wanted the wedding to be about himself, you know? He was going, how can I be the centre of attention? And
where was he doing this? On the dance floor?
Just on the dance floor, right?
On the dance floor.
I could see through it. Do you know what I mean? Other people might be like, oh, he's so much fun. No. He's trying to just be like, you know, get the attention on him. And boy, did he get it. So we're playing the last song of the first set, right? Johnny Be Good. And I didn't see... I kind of did see it. He kept picking her up. Like every 5 minutes he'd pick her up, just spin her around or do something weird where he's like picked her up. Like he's trying to be like a, I don't know, Swan Lake, what's the film? The Note Diary? The Love Diary? Don't know. There's a thing where a man picks up a woman. And listeners, send in whatever the film is called. I think it's not Ryan Reynolds. Who's that man?
I think of The Notebook.
The Notebook. It might be The Notebook where they like...
Gosling. Is Gosling in that?
Yeah, it might be Gosling. Yeah. What do you want? I don't know. Just tell me what you want. And then he like picks her up or something. I think that's basically the film. But he does this thing, right, where he sort of picked her up, threw her to one side of himself, threw her to the other side, and then he tried to lift her over his head.
How old was he?
Don't know, like early to mid 30s. Okay. She was about the same. But he's a big guy, as I keep saying. And massive ass. Anyway, so he lifted her up over his head, and I swear to God, it was like her head was touching his head, and then the rest of her was like above him, if that makes sense. So like all of her is higher than him, and at that point, he loses his balance and drops her, and she smashes down, and it's like fully concrete floor, and just bang, and we all heard it. So we don't know what to do as a band. So go, Johnny, go, go, go. We're just kind of carrying on because we're like, well, we're nearly at the end.
Imagine if his name was Johnny.
Yeah. But we're nearly at the end of the song. So we're like, well, we may as well finish. But also the party has now died. But then it kind of got a bit worrying because she was on the floor after being smashed down from over 6 foot.
And basically like WWE body slam.
Yeah, it really was.
Unintentionally.
And the noise she made, like it did sound like something cracked. And she was on the floor, and then this was the bad bit. She was trying to get up, but she couldn't, and she was like shaking. And Lennon was saying like she was in shock, like she didn't know what to do. So she's like on the floor, like I don't know, not having a seizure. That's dramatic, but she was shaking a bit. And then people from
rattled
outside,
her. He's phased her.
Yeah, people from outside saw what was going on, and they all came rushing in, and helped her up to her feet. And then I saw her sat outside. And then later on, they were sat inside, and the rest of the night, she did just look, fucked.
Shocked, yeah.
Don't know if she broke anything, but for the rest of the night, you watched everyone's conversation, and you could just see everyone was talking about it, like people were acting out, like, oh my God, so she was in the air, and But the noise she made, because that floor is just...
And because of the sound restrictions, you'd have heard it.
Yeah, well, literally. And
it wouldn't have been covered up by a band. You can hear a gnat cough.
Yeah. Oh, if people clap out of time, it throws you off. But, there was no nice dance floor. It wasn't carpet. It's just pure concrete. And she fell from over 6 foot and just smashed down. We were like, Jesus Christ. So, whoever you are, you got what you wanted. You wanted to be the centre of attention. Well done. You got it. But at what cost? I want to go up to her and say, you should find a new man. Do you know what I mean? I know you think he's all that because he's life and part. Like... Yeah, exactly. But his ego's big and he'll leave you. Right. What else we got? I could tell you about another gig I had.
Can do, yeah. I don't think I've got that much, really. I'm still just counting down the days to the studio closing.
Yeah.
I've got quite a lot of work on. I'm also trying to demolish, so things are a bit hectic. But yeah, just counting down. So when this comes out, I've only got 4 weeks left of babysitting.
Wow.
Yeah, which has been nice. But yeah, still just breaking down upstairs and making plans. I had a gig Saturday with Wonder Year. It was all good. It was all fine. Didn't have to get there till 7. And it all ran so late. We didn't go on till just before 10.
Nice.
Did our 2 hours. Nights off. And do you know what? They pay for the DJ add-on, innit?
Oh, really?
4 songs. Just put it on the DJ, then we had to go back on.
Lovely.
Waste of money.
Yeah.
But I'll take it.
Yeah, absolutely take it.
We can finish up with your other gig, though, if you want to.
No, it's anything special, you know. It was just a Lennon gig, but just very nice gig. You know, it was a pub gig, and very relaxed because everyone that was there was just mates of ours, you know. So it just felt like playing in your front room, and everyone that wasn't mates of ours was just sort of sat there listening, but sort of didn't worry about them, you know. So you could just have fun and muck about, you know, whilst getting the job done.
Nice.
So yeah, nice. But it's a nice group now, that band, because it feels like we just sort of play all the time, you know. And if anyone's listening to this and is in the Chichester area on Saturday, come to Room 12. I'll be doing Bandioki with Sarah and don't know yet because someone dropped out this morning, but someone else on guitar. And Ben Y. There's a little plug. I don't do enough plugs, you know.
No, it's good. That's where I played the other week with
I know it
Freshman
is.
Year.
Yeah, it's cool.
Yeah, so, you know, you get to grace the same stage I once did.
What
an honour.
You sort of get your sloppy
I've paved the way for bald drummers like you to come and finally get their moment.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Although people use the word pioneer. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm just who I am.
Who uses that word?
Just finish up with that. I don't know if you can tell, but I've got a bit of a...
You got a sty?
Yeah, I
Have
think
you
I've
been
just
in
got a little
fields
sty.
again?
I don't know. I mean, some of the gigs are in the countryside. Either that or Billy's farted in my face and given me pink eye.
Yeah.
But just a little bit. These things happen.
Yeah. Well, sorry to hear that. What do you do for a sty?
I don't know. I mean, I just try not to rub my eye.
Yeah.
And I'm sure it will go away.
Yeah,
but
fair enough. I had a knot on my back, and people have been trying to get it out. And here's a bizarre story for you. So I've started playing for an Adele tribute show, which is hopefully going to take to the theatres soon. And the singer is the partner of my boss, if she is my boss. I don't know. I run that place, but at the bakery. And she turned up at work last night to drop something off. And I've been told that she's very good at getting knots out. So there I was outside work, you know, getting, I wouldn't say fingered, but like really strong hands going into my back by an Adele, one of the UK's top Adele tribute acts. So, you know, it's...
life does these things.
You never know where you're going to end up. You know, you wake up in the morning and you end your night getting fingered by someone who impersonates Adele. So, yeah.
Well, you wake up and you think, oh, it'd be lovely to go to a wedding with my boyfriend tonight.
Yeah.
And then he power slams you into the fucking concrete.
Exactly.
So, you never know where your day will turn up.
No.
But thanks for listening.
Yep.
As always, George, thank you for being here, ever present in this podcast that you are.
You always say that, like I'm like an eternal guest or something.
I do. Just as a little wind up, just as a
That's good, yeah.
A little bit of fun. But yeah, get in touch, keep following on the Instagram, email us. And yeah, I mean, hope you're enjoying the lovely weather because it is hot.
Yeah, it's good, isn't it? I'm going to get out.
I've been mowing the lawn. I've been power washing the cars. Ooh,
lovely.
I'm nearly 40. 40. There's my fun.
Yeah, well, good for you. Lots to think about there. Right, let's wrap up.
Well, like a darts match, let's check out.
Yeah.
On a double, me and you.
Yeah.
And
that was good. Yeah.
We'll end the leg
anymore.
there.
Yeah. Van Gerwen could miss, and what's his name? Could hit.
Bully Boy. I think it was Michael Smith on that best leg of darts ever.
I sometimes just watch that for a laugh, you know.
Yeah, it's amazing. It's
amazing.
peak sport.
Yeah.
Really. all
I
the
like
World
when
Cups you
people are
want,
like,
but that is...
can someone explain this in basketball terms? And it'd be like, okay, if someone came on and scored 500 points, like, okay, got it. Yeah, right, cool.
Anyway, let's bounce. Thanks very much for listening. We'll see you next time. Goodbye.
Bye.
Game shot and the match. Ben, the producer, Winty, takes the prize.
Thank you for listening to Drum and Drummer. You can find us on Instagram at Drum and Drummer Podcast. And you can send us an email to drumanddrummerpod@gmail.com. Remember, just pick up the sticks and twat it.